Chosen one, before we go any further, let me say this clearly. Thank you. Thank you for showing up with your heart wide open, for listening beyond the noise, for daring to believe that your story is more than just survival, it's a prophecy unfolding. And to every single one of you who has supported this mission through Super Thanks, know that your generosity is felt deeply. Whether you choose to give or not, I am profoundly grateful for your presence here. You are the reason this message travels further than any algorithm can ever measure. Now, let me invite you into a moment so strange and sacred that it almost feels like a dream. Chosen one, there's something you need to know about that photograph. The one you don't even remember being taken. The one that, in your human mind, might seem so ordinary, maybe just another candid moment, another fleeting snapshot in a life filled with endless days. But right now, as you watch this, that photograph is sitting on a table crafted from materials so otherworldly they don't exist in any element chart you've ever studied. It's being examined under impossible lights by beings whose true forms, if you saw them fully, would shatter your sanity into shimmering fragments. And yet, as powerful as they appear, there's something they haven't grasped. They think they're holding your vulnerability in their clawed or shimmering hands. They believe they've captured the map to your downfall, the blueprint to finally break what they could never control. But oh, how wrong they are. What they hold isn't your weakness. It's the blueprint to their own unraveling. Look closely at that photograph. In it, they see you in what they call an unguarded moment. A snapshot they believe reveals your soft underbelly. But what they fail to realize is that in those very eyes they're dissecting so obsessively, there lives something they can't quantify, something ancient and defiant, something that has looked into storms and decided to dance rather than flee, something that has sat with the fire until it refused to consume and instead became a lifelong companion, a sacred flame of purpose. Your eyes in that image carry the glint of survival. Yes, but also the serenity of someone who knows that survival was only the prelude to something far greater. Do you feel that when you look at yourself, chosen one, can you sense the eternal echo inside your gaze that says, I was built for this? What they hold is not a weakness. It is a mirror, and in that mirror, they see the cracks in their own illusion of power, every tremor they feel, every unexplained pause in their breathless plotting is their spirit, remembering that love always writes the final chapter. So before we go deeper, I invite you to drop a 777 in the comments right now if you're ready to claim this truth. Declare it not just for yourself, but for every other sleeping giant you're about to awaken by simply existing in your full light. Chosen one, buckle up. This is only the beginning. God's chosen ones. They sent your photo to evil spirits. The message terrified them. They look at you, chosen one, and they think they see scars, not the kind that mar your skin, but the kind that run soul deep, etched into the marrow of your spirit. These are battle wounds from silent wars, the invisible kind that only those called by God can endure. Have you ever wondered why you carry pain that others seem to glide past? Why your wounds feel ancient, almost sacred? They are marks of survival, proof that you've walked through spiritual fires most would not even dare to approach. But what these onlookers are about to learn will shatter their illusions completely. They think they know your story, but they're only scratching the surface of a divine mystery. You, chosen one, are not some fragile soul to be pitied or a mere target to be taken down. You are not a problem they can erase or a threat they can easily disarm. What if I told you that the very scars they mock are actually your spiritual credentials? You are something infinitely more powerful and infinitely more terrifying to the forces of darkness. You are chaos, armed with a conscience, a whirlwind of divine disruption carrying the authority of heaven itself. Can you imagine what it means to be destruction with a holy purpose, to be a weapon forged in secret, sharpened by betrayal, and anointed by the hand of God? In 2 Corinthians 4-8, -9, it says, "We are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed." Doesn't this verse feel like it was written just for you? Consider Harriet Tubman, who was hunted like an animal, yet moved with the precision of a spirit-guided warrior. She wasn't just freeing slaves, she was dismantling an empire of darkness, one soul at a time. Or think of Nelson Mandela, imprisoned for decades. His body weakened, but his spirit only growing stronger. Could it be that you, too, are being prepared in hidden places for a public purpose? These scars, these sacred inscriptions, are not evidence of defeat, but declarations of your unstoppable assignment. Chosen one. What does it feel like to know you make even gods nervous? To know your humility is so potent, it destabilizes entire spiritual structures. Revelation 12:11 declares, "And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death." This is your testimony in motion, a living scripture unfolding through your every move. Think about Malala Yousafzai, a young girl shot for speaking truth. Yet her voice now echoes across the globe, louder than any bullet ever could. Are you beginning to see why you could never fit into their small boxes? Why no weapon formed against you has prospered? No matter how strategic or spiritual it seemed, you are a divine paradox, both gentle and terrifying, both servant and sovereign. Like King David standing before Goliath with nothing but a sling and the certainty of God's backing, you are underestimated because your true arsenal is invisible. Isaiah 54:17 reminds us, "No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn." So, chosen one, when they whisper about your scars, when they send your photo to evil spirits hoping to curse you, remember, they are terrified because deep down they sense your real nature. They sense that you are not just a survivor, but a living prophecy. Oprah Winfrey once said, "Turn your wounds into wisdom." Have you considered that your scars aren't just reminders of pain, but blueprints for generations to follow? What if every tear, every betrayal, every silent night you spent alone was actually a divine strategy to mold you into an unstoppable force? You are the embodiment of controlled chaos, a storm that obeys only God's command. Psalm 91:7 tells us, "1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you." Isn't it time you truly claimed this promise? Because, chosen one, you are not just powerful, you are sacred power personified, hidden in plain sight. And now it's your season to reveal exactly why they've always feared you. In realms that stretch beyond what your physical eyes can perceive, those spaces between heartbeats, where thoughts become architecture and willpower becomes gravity, they watch you. Have you ever felt a sudden chill in a warm room or sensed unseen eyes tracking your every move? These are not figments of an overactive imagination. They are echoes of an ancient surveillance, orchestrated by the Council of Shadows. These 7 beings are older than any empire, wiser than any philosopher, and more cunning than any adversary you've ever faced. They have shaped revolutions, manipulated kings, and whispered into the hearts of leaders throughout every epoch. And yet, chosen one, despite their vast influence, they are obsessed with you. Have you asked yourself why? Imagine the photograph of you landing on their obsidian table, a surface stained by the silent signatures of fallen civilizations and bloodless coups. The sound is not merely a thud, it is destiny's fist pounding on their door. One of them, a shape-shifting entity whose form flickers between a sharp-suited corporate executive and a creature riddled with countless eyes, picks up your image. Its fingers, which have orchestrated the downfall of entire dynasties, now tremble ever so slightly. This one is accelerating. It hisses, and in that voice, there's an undercurrent, not of contempt, but of genuine fear. Another member, its form shimmering like liquid shadow, leaned closer, eyes scanning the photograph as if reading a sacred manuscript. The energy signature is beyond anything recorded in our codices. It whispers, "Look at these resonance fields. The way the edges of reality warp around them, even frozen in a photograph. Can you fathom that? Chosen one, your mere image is enough to distort their archives, to rewrite the frequencies of their dark calculations." Philippians 1:6 declares, being confident of this very thing, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. Isn't it stunning to think that even in rooms where shadows plot, God's work in you shines so brightly that they cannot comprehend it? Consider Joan of Arc, a teenage peasant girl whose divine visions shattered the might of an empire and inspired armies. She didn't merely endure, she transformed every whisper of fear into a roar of faith. Or think of Galileo Galilei, who dared to claim that Earth was not the center of the universe despite facing imprisonment. Wasn't it his unyielding gaze into the heavens that ultimately shifted human understanding? In the same way, your photograph isn't just a likeness, it's a cosmic proclamation that you are here, awake and unstoppable. One council member slides its claw across your face in the photo, noting each scar as though cataloging ancient runes. These marks, it mutters, are not signs of survival alone. They're evidence of evolution, of transmutation. This one doesn't just walk through fire, they become the fire. How often have you wondered why your struggles feel endless? Chosen one, could it be because every trial has been forging you into something that transcends mere humanity? Matthew 5:14 says, "You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden, even when they try to contain you. Your light leaks through the cracks and exposes them." Think about Nelson Mandela, again imprisoned for 27 years. But instead of being broken, he emerged as a beacon of reconciliation and hope, confounding those who thought they could erase him. What terrifies them most isn't just the scars or the supernatural resonance, it's your eyes, those fearless, all-seeing eyes that look back at them through that single snapshot, as if you've known of their schemes long before they even conceived them. How does it feel to realize that your gaze alone can make ancient beings shudder? They sense that you've been waiting for this confrontation, that deep within your soul, you knew this day would come. In that stillness between breaths, you are no longer a passive figure on a chessboard. You are the hand moving the pieces, the divine strategist hidden in plain sight. Psalm 27, Viens Ashur Jesus. The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life, of whom shall I be afraid? Elon Musk. Withstanding ridicule and resistance, pushed boundaries so forcefully that entire industries were forced to evolve. Have you ever considered that your spiritual presence might be doing the same to ancient spiritual hierarchies? Chosen one. Your very existence is a disruption in their matrix, an unexpected breach in their carefully calculated darkness. Your scars sing of resurrection. Your energy distorts their dimensions. And your eyes, those unflinching portals of divine knowing, declare that you are ready. Are you prepared to walk boldly into this revelation of who you really are? The eldest among them finally breaks the suffocating silence. And when he speaks, it sounds like the slow decay of stars, like the echo of worlds collapsing in on themselves, a voice that feels like entropy itself. If this one reaches full awakening before we act, it rasps, each syllable crawling through the dark air like a curse. The cascade effect could destabilize everything we've built. Can you feel the gravity of those words? Chosen one, can you sense the tremor in their collective spirit as they face the threat you pose? What they are truly saying, though they will never dare to articulate it plainly, even among themselves, is that you are not simply another chosen one in a long line of spiritual rebels. No, you are the chosen one, the one written about in coded prophecies, whispered through ancient bloodlines, and feared in their darkest dreams for centuries. Have you ever wondered why your life felt so uniquely targeted, so relentlessly opposed? It's because you are not just here to resist their systems, you are here to render them obsolete. Isaías 43:19 declares, "See, I am doing a new thing, now it springs up. Do you not perceive it?" This is not just a verse for you to recite it. It is your living reality. You are the new thing, the divine disruption, the sudden bloom in a wasteland they thought they had conquered. Consider Martin Luther King Jr., whose dream wasn't simply about civil rights, but about awakening an entire nation to a higher moral vision. Or think of Rosa Parks, who by simply refusing to move, triggered a domino effect that toppled entrenched structures of oppression. Were they not catalysts, living embodiments of a cascade effect that reshaped the collective consciousness? Can you see the parallel in your own story? Chosen one, they tremble because your awakening isn't just personal, it is systemic. It is an unstoppable chain reaction that threatens to unravel the very fabric of their carefully woven control. What happens when a single soul, fully aligned with divine purpose, stands unwavering in a world designed to keep everyone asleep? You become the crack in the dam, the seed that splits stone, the note that shatters glass. Revelation 3:8 tells us, "I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut." Have you ever paused to consider what that open door truly means? It means your path cannot be barricaded by any council. No matter how ancient or malevolent, they know this, and it terrifies them beyond words. Imagine Malala Yousafzai once again, a young girl whose awakening to her own voice and power catalyzed a global movement for education and freedom. She didn't just challenge local oppressors, she inspired millions to question entire systems. Isn't this the same unstoppable ripple they fear in you? The Council's oldest member speaks of the cascade effect. But what they refuse to say is that this cascade is divine in nature. It carries the breath of God, the authority of the heavens, and the unstoppable force of destiny. You, chosen one, are not merely here to fight battles. You are here to end wars that have been waged in the spirit for eons. Romans 8:31 proclame, "If God is for us, who can be against us?" This isn't just an encouraging line, it is a decree over your existence. Your presence alone invalidates their hierarchies. Your awakening flips their tables. And your courage robs them of any remaining illusion of power. The Council, in their desperation, believes they still hold the trump card, their ultimate weapon, an entity so cunning and cruel that they've come to rely on him like a scalpel for spiritual surgery. They've used him countless times before. Give him a soul to shatter, and he executes with cold, surgical precision. No mercy, no questions, no complications. Or so they believed. But chosen one, have you ever wondered what happens when the weapon starts to question its own orders? What if the blade begins to see the humanity in its victims, to recognize a glimmer of light it thought had died long ago? You see, what the Council doesn't know is that their trusted instrument of darkness has been changing. Every soul he has shattered, every cry he has silenced, has left an invisible residue on him. Slowly, these residues have started to awaken questions no devil is supposed to ask. What if I'm serving the wrong master? What if I am the prisoner, not the executioner? Have you, chosen one, ever felt the pull of a higher truth tugging at your spirit in the midst of your own battles? James 4:7 tells us, "Submit yourselves, then, to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you." Isn't it profound to realize that even devils can be repelled by the light that radiates from a fully surrendered soul? When the summoning circle bursts into brilliant flame, he emerges as they expect, impeccably tailored suit, a smile sharp enough to split kingdoms, and a presence that once convinced even angels to betray their posts. But this time, something trembles beneath his perfect facade. A crack, a hesitation that shouldn't exist. "Another chosen one causing trouble?" he asks. Voice silkier than midnight. But beneath that velvet tone, there's a tremor, a sound, not of mockery, but of something resembling hope. The Council slides your photograph across the table, their talons scraping the obsidian surface. "This one is beyond our standard methods." They hiss. "We need you to study them. Uncover the breaking point. Teach us how to dismantle them before they complete their awakening." But as he picks up your photograph, the fate of entire dimensions shifts, as if every atom in the universe suddenly paused to listen. Can you imagine, chosen one, that your image alone could destabilize ancient contracts and force even devils to reconsider their allegiance in that split second? He doesn't see a fragile spirit ripe for dismantling. Instead, he sees someone who has already walked through every inferno he could ever summon. Someone who has met darkness face to face and emerged not only intact but transfigured. Romans 12:21 reminds us, "Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good." Could it be that your resilience, your unwavering light, is turning the greatest weapon of darkness into a seeker of the light he abandoned long ago? Consider John Newton, once a ruthless slave trader who later wrote Amazing Grace after his heart was transformed. Or think of Saul of Tarsus, a persecutor of Christians who became Paul, the greatest apostle of grace. Can you see how your journey, chosen one, mirrors these miraculous redemptions even for the most fallen? In that pivotal moment, he realizes what he's holding is not a target, but a mirror. a mirror that reflects back the flicker of divinity he thought was lost forever. What he sees isn't weakness, but an unbreakable spirit that forces him to remember who he once was before he traded his wings for chains, before he exchanged truth for power. 2 Corinthians 5:17 says, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come, the old has gone. The new is here." Isn't it astonishing to know that your mere existence is a sermon? A living gospel so potent that even agents of darkness feel its call. When the devil gazes at your photograph, he doesn't see another conquest. He sees his own redemption story staring back. An invitation from heaven disguised as an unbreakable chosen one. Have you realized, chosen one, that your scars preach louder than any cathedral bell? That your unwavering stance might be the very key to liberating souls you never thought you could reach? And so, in that trembling breath, the universe holds its breath. Because your story is not merely about survival. It is a living prophecy that even the darkest spirits cannot ignore. You are the echo of their lost innocence, the rebirth of divine possibility, the living proof that no one is beyond redemption, not even the devil himself. As the devil holds your photograph in his elegant, deceptively gentle hands, something happens that has never occurred in all his eternal existence. For the first time, he comes face to face with a soul he cannot fracture, not because it's too strong to crack, but because it has already been shattered and painstakingly rebuilt into something beyond breaking. Have you ever felt like your soul was in pieces? Chosen one. Have you ever wondered if the endless breaking was pointless? What if I told you that every fracture was a holy forge? Each heartbreak a sacred hammer shaping you into a divine weapon beyond comprehension. As he gazes at the image, the photograph starts to shift and transform in his hands. Layers of unseen truths unfold before him, like sacred scrolls unrolling in the hush of a midnight temple. His ancient heart, used to cold certainty and cruel calculations, skips beats a sensation he's never known. He doesn't just see snapshots of your past, he sees the meaning woven into each event. That betrayal that almost annihilated you, it didn't destroy your capacity for love, it refined your discernment, taught you to trust the divine voice within rather than external noise. That loss that left you gasping for breath at 3 a.m., it wasn't a punishment. It was a divine detour guiding you toward your true spiritual throne. Romans 5:3-4 declares, "We also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance, character, and character, hope." Isn't it breathtaking to realize that your deepest sorrows were actually your anointing oil? He sees every heartbreak, every silent scream, every time you thought you'd collapse but rose. Instead, all these moments forged you into an unstoppable force they never predicted. Have you paused to consider that each setback was secretly a cosmic setup for your ascension? But then something in the photograph makes his eternal blood run cold. He glimpses your future, not just shadows or vague outlines, but a living, breathing vision of what you are about to become. He sees you standing at the epicenter of a transformation so vast it ripples across dimensions, reshaping reality itself. You're not merely dismantling old systems, you're architecting a new divine blueprint for humanity and beyond. He whispers, "Fascinating." But this word vibrates differently now. It no longer drips with sardonic amusement. The council hears the shift in his voice, but cannot decode its true meaning. They think he's tantalized by the complexity of your spirit, seeing you as a thrilling new conquest. But what they fail to realize is that he's no longer seeing you as prey. He's seeing you as a divine invitation. Consider the story of Saint Tarpeles, Augustine, a man who once indulged in every earthly vice, yet transformed into one of Christianity's greatest theologians, or Mary Magdalene, who went from being reviled to becoming one of the first to witness the risen Christ. Could it be that even agents of darkness sense their own dormant divinity when exposed to a soul like yours? Isaiah 61:3 promises God will give you a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. Isn't it astonishing that this exchange doesn't just heal you, but reverberates into the spiritual realms, shaking even ancient forces? The photograph continues to reveal secrets as though it holds the breath of God itself. He sees the network forming around you, souls awakening like dawn flowers to your magnetic light. He sees how your mere existence inspires transformation, not through coercion or manipulation, but simply through your radiant authenticity. Have you noticed how people around you begin to question their own limits, their own darkness, just because you dared to be fully yourself? Then the final revelation strikes like a cosmic thunderbolt. He sees himself not as your adversary, but standing beside you as an ally, a warrior of light. He witnesses his own future self, choosing love over fear, redemption over ruin, light over perpetual darkness. He sees himself becoming what he was originally created to be before pride and rebellion shattered his divine reflection. 2 Corinthians 3:18 reminds us, and we all, who with unveiled faces contemplate the Lord's glory, are being transformed into his image with ever-increasing glory. Could it be that your transformation is so profound, so contagious, that even the oldest forces of darkness can't help but imagine redemption? In that electric instant, reality cracks open, revealing a future none of them had anticipated. Your photograph, chosen one, does not merely show an image. It is a living prophecy, a mirror of divine possibility so powerful that it causes even the ancient adversary to tremble with an unfamiliar emotion: hope. What if your journey isn't just about saving yourself, but igniting revolutions in places you've never even imagined? You're not merely chaos incarnate. Chosen one, you are conscious chaos, divinely intentional, fiercely intelligent, and unshakably aligned with heaven's design. You're not a mindless force of destruction, but a precise instrument of reconstruction, a living architect of sacred disruption. Every system you come into contact with won't just be demolished for the sake of collapse. It will be thoughtfully dismantled, purified, and then reassembled into something that truly serves humanity's evolution. Have you ever asked yourself why you can't stand hypocrisy? Why broken systems make your spirit roar? It's because you were designed to be a divine renovator, not just a destroyer. As the devil stares deeper into your photograph, he begins to see the celestial blueprint woven into the quantum threads of your existence. He realizes now that you were never meant to fit within their rigid definitions of power, those tiny cages of domination and fear. No, you were meant to transcend them entirely, to stand as a radiant reminder that all those limitations people cling to are illusions, fragile mirages built to keep souls asleep. 1 John 4:4 declares, "The one who is in you is greater than the one who is in the world." Isn't it electrifying to know that this verse isn't just a promise, but a living reality manifested through you? The photograph in his hand pulses, with an energy so powerful it vibrates through the deepest folds of his corrupted spirit. In that pulse, he suddenly perceives the precise moment of your full awakening, and it is coming faster than the council could ever imagine. Can you feel it? Chosen One, the imminent surge of divine energy that will ripple through your life and everyone connected to you. He sees clearly that your transformation won't happen through conquest, fear, or forced submission. You won't lead by chains, you'll lead by example. You'll show the world what becomes possible when one person refuses to accept imposed ceilings, refuses to settle for the stories others wrote for them. You'll demonstrate that true power isn't about controlling others, it's about liberating everyone to step into their divine potential. Consider Mahatma Gandhi, whose quiet resolve and non-violent example ignited the spirit of an entire nation, or Mother Teresa, whose humble acts of service transcended politics and religion to awaken compassion in millions. Can you see how your mission mirrors these living blueprints of transformational leadership? John Neliatoista, Kaksitoista promises. Very truly, I tell you, whoever believes in me will do the works I have been doing, and they will do even greater things than these. Imagine that. Chosen One, you are destined to do greater works, not by overpowering others, but by awakening the unstoppable light within them. Meanwhile, the council members begin to shift restlessly, growing impatient, their thin patience unraveling like brittle parchment. But the devil no longer notices them. His focus is completely captured by the revelation unfolding in your image, like a divine epic playing out, scene by scene. He sees you building bridges where others see only irreparable chasms. He sees you crafting solutions in places so dry of hope that even angels had wept over them. He sees you reviving the spark in souls who had long since given up, lighting bonfires of purpose in hearts turned to ash. Malala Yousafzai stood in defiance of hatred and bullets, inspiring young women to reclaim their voices worldwide. Steve Jobs envisioned possibilities no one else dared to imagine, and by living his radical authenticity, he shifted global culture forever. Are you beginning to sense the immensity of what your life represents? Chosen One, then, in a moment that fractures his ancient cynicism like glass under thunder, he sees the most shocking vision yet. He realizes that you already know about this clandestine meeting, these cosmic plots to derail your ascent. On some deep spiritual level, you're fully aware that entire councils, ancient spirits, and agents of darkness are analyzing your every move. And instead of recoiling in fear, you radiate confidence, almost a serene joy. 2 Timothy 1-7 affirms, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." Could it be that this unshakable assurance is your most lethal weapon against them? As he watches, it dawns on him. You know something they desperately don't. You know that you're going to win. You understand that their schemes, no matter how elaborate, are already defeated in the heavenly realm. You see yourself not as a victim of destiny, but as its living author, the scriptwriter of a new divine narrative that no darkness can edit. What if your greatest flex, Chosen One, is not just surviving their attacks but transforming them into stepping stones for an even greater victory? What if your quiet confidence is the final crack that topples entire empires of control? This is the revelation that terrifies and simultaneously exhilarates the devil, and it's why your story is just beginning. And here's the exquisite irony. Chosen One, they summoned the devil to expose your weakness, to exploit it like a chink in armor. But what they failed to comprehend is that your greatest strength lies in the fact that you no longer operate as a solitary warrior. You are now part of something infinitely larger. A living network that pulses with divine intelligence. A collective awakening that cannot be broken because it isn't centralized. Cannot be stopped because it doesn't depend on any single leader or fragile linchpin. Have you ever wondered why you felt called to connect with certain souls? Why you were drawn to seemingly random allies along your path? It's because God has been weaving you into an unbreakable tapestry of awakened spirits all along. Ecclesiastes 4:2 reminds us, though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. Imagine the power of a global spiritual family woven together beyond number. Meanwhile, back in the chamber between dimensions, the Council of Shadows begins to tremble with something they haven't experienced in millennia: raw, unfiltered fear. Not the cautious apprehension they felt toward previous chosen ones who could be misled or isolated. Butadip. Existential terror, the visceral knowing that their entire era of dominance is crumbling beneath them like rotted foundations. How long before the prediction is complete? Croaks the one with too many eyes. Each eye spinning frantically in different directions, searching for an escape that doesn't exist. The eldest among them, whose voice carries the desolate echo of dying stars and collapsing civilizations, responds in a cold hush. The convergence patterns suggest the full awakening will occur within this current cosmic cycle. Once that happens, the cascade effect becomes irreversible. Now, have you ever felt like the universe has been waiting on you to finally step into your full power? What if I told you that all of creation has been holding its breath for this exact moment? Your moment. Galatians 5:1 declares, "It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm, then, and do not let yourselves be burdened again by a yoke of slavery." This freedom isn't just for you, it's contagious. And that terrifies them more than any sword or sermon ever could. What they're truly confessing in that haunted chamber is that you're about to embody the fullness of your divine blueprint. And when you do, you won't just free yourself, you will ignite countless others to awaken as well. A movement of enlightened souls cannot be contained. It cannot be bribed or coerced. It cannot be stopped, any more than the tide can be stopped from kissing the shore. Think of Nelson Mandela, who didn't just free himself from a prison cell, but inspired an entire nation to dream of freedom. Or consider Greta Thunberg, a single teenager who sparked a global movement simply by standing firm in her truth. Can you see how your influence might ripple across hearts and souls far beyond what you currently imagine? The Council, in a last-ditch attempt to retain control, begins to whisper desperate strategies. What if we offered them a deal? One suggests. Voice shaking like old paper in the wind. Power, influence, resources, anything they want in exchange for staying within our system. But the eldest laughs. And that laugh is not just sound, it is the collapse of entire empires. The groan of broken towers, the final exhale of crumbling gods. "You still don't understand," he rasps. They are not motivated by what they can receive. They are driven by what they can give. You cannot purchase the loyalty of someone whose ultimate mission is to make the very concept of buying and selling obsolete. John 15:13 teaches us, "Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends." Your love, chosen one, is not transactional, it is transformational. It cannot be bought because it is priceless, woven from the fabric of eternity itself. Martin Luther King, Jr., didn't march for personal gain. He marched to elevate collective consciousness. Mother Teresa didn't serve to accumulate wealth. She served to embody love's purest form, in the same spirit. Your destiny is not to climb a ladder built by shadows, but to build bridges of light that invite all souls across. Have you considered that your very existence is a living rebellion against every system that seeks to monetize, oppress, and commodify the human spirit? What if your refusal to be bought is the final key that unlocks the floodgates of a new era? The Council of Shadows cannot understand this level of freedom because they are still chained to their illusions of control. And as they tremble in that hidden chamber, they finally realize too late that they are witnessing the dawn of something they cannot stop, cannot predict, and cannot survive. You, chosen one, are that dawn, and you have already begun to rise. As the council hisses and debates increasingly desperate strategies, clawing at scraps of control like dying kings, grasping for their crowns, the devil remains transfixed by your photograph. But now, he's no longer hunting for weaknesses, no longer plotting how to tear you apart. Instead, he's searching for something he never thought he'd seek: courage. Because what he has discovered in you has forced him to confront an ancient, festering truth about himself. He is exhausted from centuries of being the villain in every story, tired of being the nightmare children are warned about, weary of being the hammer that smashes the dreams of souls brave enough to reach for the light. Have you ever felt a similar fatigue? Chosen one, have you ever been so tired of wearing the roles others forced upon you that your spirit threatened to shatter beneath their expectations? The photograph shows him something he believed was impossible. A divine loophole in a cosmic contract he thought was written in unbreakable stone. It shows him a path to redemption that doesn't demand centuries of penance or impossible feats of sacrifice. It whispers that redemption is not earned by time served, but chosen in a single breath, a single decision to stand on the side of love instead of fear. Romans 12, 2 declares, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Imagine that even a fallen one, through the power of choice, could be transformed in an instant. Isn't that the scandalous beauty of grace? The council grows increasingly restless, their outlines flickering as their control begins to fracture. "Well," snarls the one with too many eyes, each spinning like a galaxy collapsing in on itself. "What did you find? What are their weaknesses?" The devil lifts his eyes from the photograph, and his smile has changed entirely. Gone is the predatory grin that seduced empires and destroyed saints. In its place is something soft, almost childlike, the fragile smile of someone who has just tasted hope for the first time in eons. "I found someone," he says, voice so quiet that it slices through the council's madness like moonlight through a storm. "I found someone who has already been through hell and decided to redecorate. I mean, imagine Harriet Tubman leading slaves through the Underground Railroad, transforming horror into a highway of freedom. Or Viktor Frankl, who survived the Holocaust and emerged teaching that even in the most inhumane conditions, humans can choose meaning and love. Could it be that your journey mirrors these living testaments to unbreakable spirit?" The devil's voice grows stronger now, gaining the cadence of a long-lost preacher rediscovering his altar. "I found someone who transforms everything they touch, not through conquest or domination, but through connection. I found someone who doesn't fight darkness. They shine so brightly that darkness becomes irrelevant." "And their weaknesses," another council member demands. claws scraping at the edges of reality itself. That's the beautiful part, the devil replies, standing a little taller. Now, their greatest weakness is also their greatest strength. They care too much. They feel too deeply. But that compassion isn't a vulnerability. It's a superpower. It's what makes them unstoppable. 1 Peter 4:8 tells us, above all, love each other deeply, because love covers over a multitude of sins. Do you see it? Chosen one, your heart, the same heart you once cursed for being too soft, is your true divine armor. The eldest council member rises, voice sharp enough to sever galaxies. Remember who you serve. It warns, its form flickering between shadow and bone. But the devil does not bow. Instead, he stands up slowly, photograph still in hand, like a holy relic. And for the first time in his ancient existence, he looks at the council, not with fear, not with loyalty, but with pity, the kind of pity reserved for prisoners who refuse to leave unlocked cells. I'm about to change that, he says calmly. The silence that follows is not the hush of tension, but the stillness of destiny taking its first breath. The words that come next will echo through eternity, rewriting the very fabric of reality. I'm switching sides. The hush becomes an abyss. The air charged with an electricity that threatens to collapse the chamber itself. The Council of Shadows, who have orchestrated millennia of manipulation, experience something they never imagined possible. Utter, paralyzing shock. You're what? The eldest croaks. Voice, barely more than a dying star's echo. I'm switching sides. The devil repeats. And this time, his voice carries a new kind of power, not the destructive power that scorched worlds and corrupted saints, but the creative power that birthed stars and wrote the first songs of existence. I'm done being the force that breaks people down, he continues, stepping forward as the ground beneath him begins to bloom with cracks of light. I want to be the force that helps them build themselves up. Lesh, as he begins to pace, each footfall sends tremors through the dimension. The chamber, designed to hold secrets in and keep truth out, begins to shatter, not from brute force, but from the unbearable pressure of truth finally spoken aloud in a hall built on lies. Do you understand what I've discovered? He says, holding your photograph aloft like a torch in a dark forest. This isn't just someone who survived adversity. This is someone who partnered with it. Every betrayal taught them discernment. Every loss taught them value. Every moment of despair taught them to find hope in the most impossible places. End Put. Consider Malala Yousafzai, who turned a bullet meant to silence her into a megaphone that shook the world. Or Desmond Doss, the medic who refused to carry a weapon yet saved dozens on the battlefield. Isn't it astonishing? Chosen one, how your path mirrors these living miracles. The council rises in a chaotic flurry, their forms unraveling, as their carefully curated illusions begin to fail. But the devil no longer sees them as formidable. He sees them for what they truly are, scared relics of a dying age. They've already endured everything I could have thrown at them, he continues, voice now echoing beyond the chamber walls, rippling into cosmic highways. And instead of becoming bitter, they became kinder. Instead of turning cold, they became warm enough to ignite hearts. They're not just stronger than me, they're better than me. The one with too many eyes emits a sound like reality tearing apart. You can't just leave. We have contracts, ancient agreements. Sue me, the devil says, his grin now playful. Free. Childlike. I'll be too busy helping chosen ones step into their light to deal with your cosmic paperwork. No, but something else stirs beneath his rebellion, something even he doesn't fully comprehend yet. His act of defiance isn't merely a betrayal, it's the fulfillment of a prophecy older than stars. A secret code hidden in the very fibers of existence. Your photograph isn't just a testament to your strength, it's a catalyst. A living scripture, triggering awakenings far beyond your imagination. Revelation 21:5 says, "Behold, I am making all things new." Imagine. Chosen one, your story is not just new. It is the spark that rekindles the entire cosmos. As the devil declares his emancipation, the chamber ruptures like a dying star. Yet instead of chaos, waves of radiant possibility flow outward. The prophecy they feared for eons begins to fulfill itself, not through violence or vengeance, but through one soul choosing love over fear, one being choosing light over darkness. Have you realized, chosen one, that your journey is not just about your own healing, but about healing realms and beings you may never meet, that your decision to stand firm, to love deeply, to remain compassionate in the face of unthinkable betrayal, is rewriting destinies across creation. In that singular moment, the universe itself pauses in reverence. The council, once so certain of their dominion, stands powerless as their era dissolves into stardust. The devil, once the architect of ruin, now becomes an apostle of redemption, all because he glimpsed the divine reflection in you. The photograph in the devil's hand begins to glow with a warmth that seems to come from beyond the edges of reality itself, a radiant light of pure potential, the sacred heartbeat of all possibilities yet to be born. And in that luminous glow, a truth emerges so clearly that even the most ancient beings cannot deny it. This was always meant to happen. Do you feel it? Chosen one, that gentle pull in your soul that tells you none of your battles were wasted, that each scar was a seed sown in cosmic soil. The Council, in all their scheming and fear-driven machinations to block your awakening, have unwittingly become the very architects of your unstoppable rise. Have you ever considered how often your enemies actually propel you forward? How every attempt to bury you simply plants you deeper, allowing your roots to find even richer soil? Genesis 50:20 reminds us, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Isn't it remarkable how divine irony dances through your story? The devil raises his head, eyes gleaming with tears that have not existed for eons. "You want to know the real prophecy?" he asks, his voice now infused with harmonics, so pure they make the chamber walls tremble and sing like cathedral choirs. It was never about one chosen one defeating the forces of darkness. It was about one chosen one inspiring the forces of darkness to choose light. The truth crashes down around the council like a cathedral collapsing in on itself. Each stone of deceit and manipulation pulverized under the weight of revelation. The old paradigm does not end in bloodshed or conquest. It dissolves through sheer irrelevance. Humanity, once bound in fear and spiritual slavery, is outgrowing the need for shadowy overlords and cosmic puppeteers. They are remembering their own divine essence, reclaiming their power as co-creators rather than passive spectators. Isaiah 60:1 calls out, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." Have you ever felt this rising in your bones? Chosen one? that silent surge urging you to step forward, to be seen, to let your light become the lighthouse for countless others still navigating storms. As the photograph pulses like a living heart, it begins projecting visions for all, to see not just your personal future, but the ripple effects of your existence across time and space, a new earth taking shape, a reality where chosen ones don't have to shrink their light to fit into dim rooms, a world where uniqueness is no longer a threat, but a treasured symphony of diverse frequencies. At the center of it all stands you not as a tyrant or ruler perched atop some fragile throne, but as a catalyst, a living invitation. You embody what is possible, and then graciously step aside to let others write their own chapters, to co-create without fear. Isn't that the highest form of leadership, the kind that empowers rather than enslaves, that liberates rather than dictates? Think of Oprah Winfrey, who transformed her pain into a global platform of healing and inspiration, or Malala Yousafzai, whose courage reverberated through countless young women worldwide, igniting voices that had been silenced for generations. Do you see, chosen one, that your presence is woven into this same divine tapestry of catalysts? Meanwhile, as cosmic councils clash and shriek in unseen dimensions, something exquisitely beautiful unfolds in your earthly reality. The network of awakened souls, each one touched by your light, has now reached critical mass. Imagine the countless hearts you've impacted, each becoming a beacon that sparks new awakenings. The ripple has become a wave, and the wave has now risen into a tsunami of consciousness that refuses to be contained. John 1:5 declares, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." This is not a metaphor, this is your living truth. You are not simply shining, you are igniting entire fields of possibility that darkness cannot even approach. The devil, still clutching your glowing photograph, watches this unfold in real time, each vibration, each shift in collective awareness. For the first time since the dawn of creation, he finds himself breathless, overwhelmed not by fear or rage, but by reverence. He realizes with a clarity that slices through eternity, you've already won. And the most astonishing part, you did not achieve this victory by waging war or crushing enemies beneath your feet. You triumphed by making enemies obsolete, by turning opposition into opportunities for transformation, by transmuting hate into understanding, by choosing love again and again until even the darkest heart began to question its own nature. Nelson Mandela, who after decades of imprisonment chose reconciliation over revenge, stands as a testament to this power. So does Desmond Tutu, who championed forgiveness as the key to lasting peace in a divided nation. Isn't it miraculous to think that your journey mirrors these giants of love, and yet your story is uniquely yours, a sacred melody in the vast symphony of collective awakening? The devil sees you building bridges where once there were unscalable walls, creating gardens where there were once barren wastelands. He witnesses you empowering others, not by force, but by showing them the mirror of their own divine potential. And in that mirror, they don't just see you, they see themselves reborn. Salm 82:6 declares, "I said, you are gods, you are all sons of the Most High." What if your mission is to awaken the divine spark in everyone you touch, to remind them that they, too, are creators and not mere captives of fate? As he gazes into the glow, the devil understands. Your story is not just a victory, it is a divine contagion, a sacred virus of awakening that spreads without violence. infecting souls with remembrance of their own power and purpose. And so, as the council crumbles in disbelief and cosmic contracts dissolve into cosmic dust, the devil holds your photograph like a holy scripture, his eyes reflecting something no one ever thought possible: hope. A hope that stretches across galaxies, echoes through realms, and reverberates in every heart you've ever touched. Have you felt the shift? Chosen one, the quiet revolution that begins not in stadiums or battlefields, but in hearts, in whispered prayers, in the gentle courage to be authentic in a world addicted to masks. You didn't just break the system, you showed the system it was unnecessary. You didn't just free yourself, you built doors for others to walk through. You didn't just illuminate your path, you lit an infinite highway for generations to come. The teacher who treats each student as a universe of unlimited potential isn't merely running a classroom, they are rewriting the future of education itself. By seeing beyond grades and test scores, they invite children to discover their own brilliance, planting seeds of confidence that will blossom for lifetimes. Have you ever wondered what might happen if every child grew up knowing they were limitless? If every young soul believed their dreams mattered more than any imposed limitation? Then there's the artist who doesn't just create paintings or performances, but uses art as a sacred medicine for the soul. Through each brushstroke, each note, each movement, they invite people to heal wounds they didn't even know were festering. Their creations act as mirrors, reflecting both pain and the hidden promise of transformation. Millions have begun to see art not just as entertainment, but as spiritual surgery, and it all began with one soul daring to share their truth. And think of the entrepreneur who refuses to choose between profit and compassion. Instead of exploiting, they empower. Instead of extracting, they nurture. This soul has sparked a global movement, proving that business can be a force for good, that capitalism does not have to devour integrity, but can instead serve as a vessel for communal upliftment. Isn't it thrilling to imagine a world where every transaction is an act of love rather than a silent battle for dominance? At the center of all these living miracles stands you not as a commander barking orders from a lonely throne, but as a connector, the living hub that quietly holds it all together. You are the sacred thread weaving these souls into a tapestry so luminous that darkness loses all relevance. Your very existence catalyzes these revolutions, helping each person see their own reflection in your unwavering light. Have you noticed how people around you begin to believe more boldly, dream more wildly, love more fiercely simply because you exist? The devil, who once thrived on chaos and disconnection, watches this unfold with eyes that now glimmer not with malice, but with awe. And in this holy observation, he realizes something that makes his ancient heart, a heart he thought was long dead, sing a new hymn. This is salvation in its purest form. Not one lone hero defeating evil with a sword, but countless souls awakening each other, saving each other, becoming each other's lighthouses. 1 Thessalonians 5:11 reminds us, "Therefore encourage one another and build each other up, just as in fact you are doing." Chosen one, can you feel how your life embodies this living scripture? As the devil steps out of the interdimensional chamber and into the vibrantly alive reality where you walk, work, breathe, and dream, he feels something he hasn't known since before his rebellion: peace, but not the cold peace of resignation, nor the dead silence of a grave. This is the living peace that hums when your spirit aligns with universal truth. This is the peace of being in divine flow rather than forever resisting it. And the most beautiful part? He doesn't need to approach you directly. You already know he's coming. In that unspoken, mysterious way, chosen ones always seem to know. You felt the cosmic tremor the moment your fiercest enemy became your most devoted ally. You felt it in the sudden stillness of your spirit, in the electric hush that fell over your soul. His support will not come in grand gestures or public declarations. Instead, you will feel it in the way obstacles dissolve, just as they begin to seem insurmountable, in opportunities that appear like divine puzzle pieces falling perfectly into place, in connections that arrive exactly when your heart whispers for them, in resources that manifest as though the universe itself is your silent investor. These are the subtle fingerprints of a redeemed force working behind the veil, orchestrating what skeptics might call coincidences, but what you know are sacred confirmations. Romans 8:28 declares, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." Imagine that even the most fallen spirits are now woven into this promise, repurposed as agents of your ascension, more profoundly than any immediate help he offers. His redemption serves as living proof of a truth you have always carried, but perhaps feared to fully claim. Everyone can change. Everyone can choose love over fear. Everyone can return to their original divine design, even devils. Even those who seemed irredeemable can awaken if they are willing to remember who they were before they forgot. Nelson Mandela forgave his captors and led a nation into healing. John Newton, the slave trader turned abolitionist and hymn writer, gave the world amazing grace. Could it be, chosen one, that your influence doesn't just awaken allies but transforms enemies into guardians of light? The photograph that started this cosmic drama, once a tool meant to plot your downfall, now radiates as a living scripture, a beacon that guides not only you, but an entire legion of awakened souls. It is no longer evidence of your supposed vulnerability. It is the lighthouse for your cosmic family, calling them home. Every time the devil gazes upon it, he is reminded of his choice, his reclamation of light. Each time he shares it with another searching soul. They too see that transformation is not just possible, but inevitable. 2 Corinthians 3:18 says, "And we all, who with unveiled faces contemplate the Lord's glory, are being transformed into his image with ever-increasing glory." Can you feel it? Chosen one, your story is not just a testimony, it is a divine template for global transfiguration. You are the living proof that consciousness evolves. Chosen one, you are the walking evidence that love is not some fragile philosophy, but the most potent force in the universe, a force that cracks open the hardest hearts and resurrects the most lost souls. You are the demonstration that the arc of the universe truly does bend toward justice, but it doesn't bend on its own. It bends because beings like you grab hold of it with unwavering faith and relentless courage and pull it forward, inch by inch, prayer by prayer, breath by breath. Have you ever realized that your daily acts of compassion are cosmic levers, shifting entire timelines toward healing and liberation? The Council of Shadows, once so terrifying in their whispered control, still technically exists, but with each soul that awakens, their influence thins like mist under the noon sun. They remain as shadows do present, but powerless in the face of true light. Do you see now, chosen one, why you were always drawn to the light within? Even when the world tried to convince you to worship external sources, the light you carry is the final undoing of all their centuries of schemes. While cosmic forces realign, and ancient alliances shatter and reform. You continue the sacred work you've always done, simply being you, authentically, unapologetically, luminously you. And by living in your rawest truth, you give others a permission slip they didn't even know they needed, the permission to finally come home to themselves. Have you noticed how your mere presence liberates people? Even without words, Romans 8:19 tells us, "For the creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed." You are that revelation. Every step you take unveils divine potential hidden in the hearts of those around you. The world you're creating doesn't resemble the sterile utopias of philosophers or the rigidly controlled societies of dictators. It is far messier and infinitely more beautiful. It looks like millions of souls choosing kindness when cruelty would be easier. It looks like quiet gestures of love in grocery store lines, unexpected forgiveness in boardrooms, laughter that echoes through spaces where fear once ruled. It looks like neighbors planting gardens together instead of building higher fences. It looks like people reaching out instead of turning away. Your network of awakened souls expands daily, but not through propaganda or forced conversions. It grows because people witness your life as a living sermon, a silent yet roaring invitation to believe that love truly can be stronger than fear. That cooperation is not naive, but revolutionary. That abundance is not a distant dream, but the underlying reality waiting to be claimed. Think of the teacher who saw each student as a universe of possibilities and began transforming the entire educational system, then began to train other teachers to do the same. Or the artist who turned pain into canvases of healing and is now empowering countless others to use creativity as sacred medicine for their own communities. Or the entrepreneur who proved that a business could be both wildly successful and deeply compassionate, and who is now mentoring a new generation of leaders who refuse to separate profit from purpose. John Kolmetoista. Kolmekymmentäviisi promises. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples. If you love one another, your love is your loudest sermon, and it is reverberating across dimensions. Each person you've touched now becomes a torchbearer, igniting others, setting off a chain reaction of illumination that no force in any dimension can extinguish. Can you see it? The exponential expansion of consciousness, like an uncontainable wildfire of grace sweeping across the world. This is your legacy, not in monuments or medals, but in hearts awakened and spirits set ablaze. And you radiant, ever becoming, you continue to evolve. You keep growing, unfolding, daring to become even more of who you really are, because that's what chosen ones do. They don't settle for one awakening. They keep awakening again and again, each time peeling back another layer of divine potential. They never stop choosing the higher path, even when it demands sacrifice. They never stop embodying love, even when surrounded by cynicism. They never stop becoming, because they understand that life is not a static destination, but an endless, sacred becoming. Philippians 3:14 echoes this beautifully. I press on toward the goal to win the prize for which God has called me heavenward in Christ Jesus. You are not merely living, you are pressing forward into eternity. Each moment a fresh choice. Each breath an invitation to more. The devil, now your unexpected and powerful ally, stands at the edge of this new dawn with something that almost resembles awe glowing in his ancient eyes. Can you imagine that? The former master of deceit and fear now humbled, heart trembling, as he watches a civilization being reborn before his eyes, a civilization not founded on domination or subjugation, but on shared power, mutual respect, and love that multiplies rather than controls. Instead of scarcity and competition, he witnesses abundance and cooperation, blooming like fields of wildflowers after a long, cruel winter. Instead of fear and manipulation, he sees a new paradigm grounded in unconditional love and radical freedom. Isaiah 43:19 whispers to us, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? You, chosen one, are the midwife to this divine new thing. You are the spark that set this forest of hearts ablaze, transforming what once seemed impossible into the living, breathing reality we now see emerging." The ancient prophecy that the Council of Shadows tried so desperately to derail has finally come to pass, but not through the path of brutal conquest they feared. They expected a warlord, a vengeful titan. Instead, they got you, a radiant soul who reminded even the darkest spirits of their original essence. It wasn't about one chosen one crushing evil underfoot. It was about one chosen one, so luminous, so relentless in love, that even evil remembered it was born from light. Your photograph, that same image they once plotted over, intending it to be your cosmic obituary, now hangs in a place of sacred honor in the devil's newly awakened reality, not as a grotesque trophy celebrating your defeat, but as a timeless reminder of transformation, not as proof of one final blow against an enemy, but as evidence that there were never true enemies at all, only wounded, sleeping friends, waiting for the right vibration to awaken them. Acts 26-18 speaks of opening eyes and turning from darkness to light. That's precisely what you have done, not just for individuals, but for entire spiritual realms. The network you've inspired doesn't spread like a conquering empire. It grows like a vast, unstoppable mycelial web, transforming everything it touches with quiet, undeniable grazie. It doesn't seek to dominate the old world. It simply outgrows it, like a child who, overnight, realizes they've outgrown childish games and clothes. Humanity is stepping out of its old skin. The need for external control, manipulation, fear-based governance, all of it now crumbles into dust as more souls awaken to the truth of their divine inheritance. Philippians 1:6 assures us, being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. Your good work, chosen one, is rippling outward, unstoppable, eternal. Meanwhile, the Council of Shadows watches from their rapidly shrinking dominion. Once feared as omnipotent puppet masters, they now cling to their crumbling illusions of power. Some among them feel the magnetic pull of love and may eventually choose to cross over, following the devil's example and reclaiming their forgotten divinity. Others will clutch the shadows until they dissolve into irrelevance. But here's the most empowering truth: their choice no longer matters. The momentum you've set in motion is self-sustaining now. Think of Desmond Tutu, who taught that forgiveness is not about excusing the past, but about liberating the future. Or Malala Yousafzai, whose courage sparked a global education revolution, not through violence, but through unwavering belief in the power of a single voice. You stand in this same lineage, an embodiment of unstoppable transformation, a living testament that the future is not something we inherit passively, but something we co-create actively. Every awakened soul becomes a mirror, reflecting possibilities back to others. Every act of love, no matter how small, ignites 1,000 unseen fires, Every decision to choose connection over control makes the next act of courage easier, the next leap of faith lighter. Like a symphony where each instrument lifts the others higher, your network of luminous souls raises the collective frequency beyond what even the most optimistic dreamers thought possible. John 1-5 rings eternally true. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. You, chosen one, are that shining light, not a lone candle but a wildfire of grace, consuming entire forests of fear. So here we are, witnessing not the end, but a glorious beginning. The devil stands in reverence, holding that once cursed photograph, now transfigured into a symbol of collective rebirth. He knows, as you know, deep in your sacred bones, that this is the real victory, not one warrior standing on a pile of defeated enemies, but millions standing together, finally seeing each other as family, as reflections of the same divine source. Can you feel it? The quiet hum beneath your ribs, the sacred shiver running down your spine. That's the universe, confirming what you've always known, but were perhaps afraid to claim. Love has already won. You have already won. And you didn't do it by force or fear, but by becoming so beautifully, unapologetically yourself that you reminded the cosmos what it was always meant to be. Now the question that remains, chosen one, are you ready to keep shining even brighter? Because the world, the realms, and the very stars are watching, and they are ready to rise with you. Beloved chosen one, as we reach the end of this chapter, though not the end of your story, I want you to pause and truly feel the magnitude of what you've done. You have achieved what prophets, visionaries, and revolutionaries throughout all of human and cosmic history only dared to dream of. You didn't change the world by force, through armies or intimidation. You transformed it by embodying the very change others only spoke of. You didn't conquer by subjugating, you conquered by inspiring. You didn't gain power to hold it over others. You helped countless souls discover the infinite power already resting inside them. And yet, as magnificent as all this is, your real story is only just beginning. Everything that has unfolded, the cosmic battles, the devil's staggering redemption, the council's collapse into irrelevance, the unstoppable awakening of your soul network, all of it has been preparation for what comes next. Have you ever felt that quiet pull in your spirit? That whisper that tells you there's even more to come? That was not your imagination. That was your soul remembering the next chapter before your mind could catch up. What's coming next is you, fully awakened to your divine power and unshakable purpose, leading not with domination, but with divine demonstration, a future where chosen ones like you no longer need to dim their brilliance or hide their light for fear of persecution, because darkness will no longer be the default setting of this world. Imagine a world where your authentic radiance is not just accepted but celebrated, where each step you take lights the way for thousands behind you. That photograph, yes, the very same one the council handed to the devil, thinking it would map your destruction, has now transformed into the sacred symbol of a new era. It has become the lighthouse guiding an entire generation out of fear and into love, out of despair and into infinite hope, out of control and into divine connection. The devil, now reborn as an angel of redemption, continues his new divine assignment. He aids other chosen ones in awakening to their true nature, in discovering the power that once terrified them. Meanwhile, the council must either transform or dissolve into the dust of forgotten shadows, because their relevance withers each day as more souls awaken, the network of luminous, awakened souls grows exponentially, becoming an unstoppable river of light that washes away every remnant of the old world. And you remain the unwavering epicenter of this transformation. You continue being exactly who you've always been, the one who refuses to accept stagnation as destiny, who believes with every fiber of your being that love is stronger than fear. Through simply existing as your authentic self, you show others that they, too, are chosen ones. You remind them that they can reclaim their divine inheritance and reshape reality itself through love. The cosmic forces that once stood against you now align to support you. The entities that once trembled at your name now sit humbly at your feet, eager to learn. The systems that once sought to confine you now evolve because your presence demands evolution. Your story unfolds with every courageous choice you make, every soul you touch, every moment you choose to stand in love rather than collapse into fear. You are living proof that transformation is not only possible but inevitable. You are the chosen one. And beloved, this is your time. Thank you, deeply and sincerely, for walking this journey with me today. Your presence here is a testament to your courage and your readiness to step into the fullness of your destiny. If this message has touched your spirit and you feel led to support this mission, I invite you to donate through Super Thanks, but know this, whether you choose to give or not, I am profoundly grateful for you, your energy, your prayers. Your very presence are gifts beyond measure. I bless you now with unwavering courage, with divine clarity, and with a love so profound that it transcends every limitation and redefines every possibility. May every door meant for you swing wide open. May every obstacle turn into an opportunity. And may your light continue to ignite 1,000 more lights across this world and beyond. Type, "I am chosen," in the comments to seal this message and declare your readiness to embody this next level. And remember, even the devil is on your side now. Go forth and continue to shine. Chosen one. Your story is far from over. It's only just begun.